The story begins in the year 2046. At this time, education has become very advanced. Teachers no longer use chalk to write on the board. Meanwhile, students don't need to take notes by hand either. They only need to use sensors to type and save their lessons. One day, Arita suddenly receives a strange email. He decides to open the email to see its content. The email asks Arita to bring 2 loaves of bread along with a box of yogurt to the rooftop during the lunch break. If he is late, Arita will be turned into a bread filling. The sender of the email is a classmate of his. At lunch break, Arita is forced to follow the request. Now the whole group of friends is already waiting on the rooftop because they know there are no surveillance cameras there. They say that Arita doesn't need to be afraid or worried. Although he has brought the required amount of bread, the group is still not satisfied. The reason is that the filling inside the bread is not what they expected. Finally, the group decides to give Arita one last chance. So Arita feels angry, but he can't do anything. Arita can only mutter quietly to himself in the bathroom. After that, he hides in a separate restroom. There, Arita accidentally activates the direct link mode. Immediately, he is transported to another world. Here, Arita takes the form of a pig. Just after appearing, he fell flat on his face. Compared to everyone else in this world, Arita has the strangest appearance. He heard that people were gathering at the guild hall. Out of curiosity, Arita decided to go there and take a look. At the gathering place, people were requesting avatar designs from Kuroyuki. Everyone admired her cute and charming beauty immensely. At that moment, Kuroyuki happened to see Arita. The two of them made eye contact for a few brief seconds. Arita had just met the gaze of the goddess, which immediately caused him to faint and fall flat on his face again. He felt utterly disappointed when he realized he was just a pig. Arita likened himself to a blade of grass by the roadside, unable to reach the clouds in the sky. Now he had no choice but to walk away, because he no longer dared to dream foolishly. Arita walked to a familiar area to start up a game console, because this was the only place where he felt comfortable and belonged. This place was a scoring baseball game, and also his favorite game. Arita felt disgusted with the real world outside. He couldn't understand why, in such a modern era, students still had to go to school. For him, the virtual world was more than enough to live in. In this game, Haruyuki held a top position on the leaderboard. However, Arita was still not satisfied. Arita wanted to be faster. He had to speed up to the point where he could pierce through everything and surpass all limits. Suddenly, Arita missed hitting a ball. Immediately, the game stopped. At that moment, a girl with cat ears appeared. She said she had predicted that Arita would take a lunch break and come here. Seeing Arita's level 152 and 263 million points surprised her. And she couldn't understand what he was trying to do here. She even wondered, does this guy even use his brain? However, Arita didn't want any attention or to be noticed. Then, the cat-eared girl left. He was about to continue playing when suddenly he was pulled back to the real world. It was his classmate who woke Arita up. Oh, by the way, Oni hasn't introduced the protagonist's name yet. His name is Haruyuki Arita. Everyone, but Oni calls him Haru, for short. The girl who woke Haru is named Chiyuri. Chiyuri witnessed Haru being bullied. She didn't understand why Haru didn't report it to the school supervisor. Haru thought he had given up all hope in school life. He felt he didn't need anyone to care about or worry for him anymore. Chiyuri tried to invite Haru to eat his favorite food, but Haru brushed everything off. Then, he turned his back and walked away. After walking away, Haru suddenly realized he had made a big mistake. He began to think about what had just happened. Haru knew that he should have gone back to apologize to Chiyuri, but he didn't have the courage to do so. Haru blamed himself for being a coward. He was the one who made Chiyuri cry. Haru then returned to the game world again because here he was a timid pig. When Haru reached the baseball game area, he discovered a surprising thing. Unexpectedly, the high score record he once held had been broken. Meanwhile, someone had reached level 166. This shocked him so much that he fell flat on his face. Haru couldn't hold back his tears because he always thought he was unbeatable here. But now, that was no longer true. At that moment, the guild leader Kuroyuki also appeared. She was surprised to learn that this silly high score streak belonged to Haru. Kuroyuki asked Haru if he wanted to reach the next level. She invited Haru to meet her during lunch break the next day. Then, the following noon, Haru bravely went to the meeting spot. When he appeared, everyone around was curious. They wondered why a chubby kid had come to the upperclassmen's area. Shortly after, the person who had invited Haru, and also Haruyuki himself, appeared. She allowed Haru to enter the room. Kuroyuki started up the machine and asked Haru to attach a connection cable to his neck. This was a special cable that only couples were allowed to share. Haru was very surprised, and he didn't understand what she wanted from him. Kuroyuki said that she wanted to send a special program to Haru's neurolinker. If Haru accepted, the concept of reality would be broken. After that, a new world would be recreated in a completely unexpected way. At this time, the people around also began to pay attention to Haru and Kuroyuki. Haru felt anxious but also really wanted to try, because he truly wanted to break the boundaries of reality. Finally, the recreation process began. This program was called Brain Burst. When the installation was successful, Kuroyuki promised to tell Haru the whole truth. Because there were some special cases, the program could not be installed successfully. Then, the installation process was completed. The program brought Haru into a new world called Accel World. Kuroyuki believed that Haru could accomplish great things in this world. She felt she had made the right decision by choosing Haru to grant the use of the program. At that moment, 3 bullies who often picked on Haru appeared. They questioned Haru about the pastries and yogurt. Kuroyuki immediately recognized the leader named Araya. She deliberately exaggerated the story, making the situation even more tense. Haru was extremely shocked. Araya got angry and threw a powerful punch at him. At that moment, Kuroyuki shouted a command and told Haru to follow her. He also recited the command, "Burst link," immediately. Time and space around them suddenly stopped. Haru saw himself return in the form of Zubaji. He completely did not understand what was happening. Kuroyuki had transformed into a goddess at this time. She said that both of them were affected by the Brain Burst program. They had now been accelerated, and the world they were standing in was the Accel world. This is a world that exists only in the mind, shared by burst linkers. Kuroyuki approached and gently placed Haru on the table. She explained that all surrounding activities were currently paused. However, the space they were seeing was actually a 3D image reconstructed from countless surveillance cameras. By linking with the neurolinker, the human brain can perceive this world through the process of accelerated thinking. In other words, the speed of human thought in Accel world has been increased by thousands of times. Specifically, 1 second in the real world is equivalent to 1,000 seconds in the accelerated world. And the special thing is, in this world, Haru can also use superpowers. In the accelerated world, Haru realized that they could solve the problems he faced, because now there was plenty of time to think. He admitted that before, he had never been able to avoid a situation like this. However, Kuroyuki advised Haru to let Araya's punch happen. She thought this was a great opportunity, because there were many cameras recording right now. Araya would definitely be exposed. As a burst linker with supernatural powers, Haru could easily handle Araya. Nevertheless, Haru decided not to use his power to retaliate. He chose to accept the punch. Kuroyuki saw this as a wise decision. She told Haru to stop the accelerated state, and immediately jump back to intentionally increase the damage. Then, the two of them left the Accel world and returned to reality. Immediately, Haru took the full punch straight to the face from Araya. Kuroyuki also fell down and fainted. Blood was flowing on her forehead. All cameras in the area recorded the entire incident. Kuroyuki didn't want Haru to move, because everything should happen exactly as planned. In the end, Araya's bullying group was arrested thanks to the recorded evidence. Kuroyuki praised Haru for doing very well. She even joked, "We'll meet a lot more times later, my darling." She instructed Haru not to remove the neurolinker until tomorrow when he goes to school. At the same time, Haru was not allowed to connect to any global net. Haru agreed and followed all of Kuroyuki's instructions. Then, Chiyuri was already waiting for Haru at the school gate. The two of them chatted and walked home together. Chiyuri said she knew about Haru being beaten in the dining hall. She also asked Haru if it was true that he had connected with Kuroyuki. Haru replied that he thought that was correct. Haru planned to talk about it yesterday. But suddenly Taku showed up. So the whole group went back together. However, Taku unexpectedly mentioned that Chiyuri had baked a cake yesterday. Haru suddenly realized something strange. He didn't understand why Taku knew about this. He wondered if Chiyuri had also told him about the bullying. Could this be Taku's idea for the cake? After that, Haru asked for permission to go home first. Haru had no idea that Taku already knew everything. He believed that the situation with Araya would not happen again. However, Haru also felt despair about this reality. He felt as if everyone was mocking and trampling on him. Haru just wanted to escape from it all and fly to the ends of the earth. Haru woke up from a nightmare. He didn't know what the dream meant. The next morning, Haru asked his mother for money to buy a lunch, then left the house. However, just as he stepped out the gate, the Accel world was activated. At that moment, everything had been destroyed. The program also started functioning again. Haru looked around and saw everything was a 3D image. Suddenly, he realized he was in a different form. He was wearing a strange armor. At that moment, a stranger on a motorcycle appeared. He regarded Haru as a weak opponent. He wanted to crush Haru immediately. Haru began to realize the danger of the situation. He tried to run away to dodge the attack, but was eventually hit. Afterwards, Haru recounted the entire incident to Kuroyuki. Kuroyuki thought this was the result of Haru breaking his promise to her. The main reason was that Haru had carelessly connected with his mother. The truth about Brain Burst was actually a fighting game, where players could encounter any opponent in random areas in the real world. Haru did not expect that acceleration was only used for playing the game this way. However, acceleration was not simply for entertainment. Players were forced to fight if they wanted to maintain acceleration ability. Kuroyuki wanted both of them to activate acceleration and clearly explain everything to Haru. At that moment, a character like Baji suddenly appeared. To the left of Haru's view, a special icon appeared. It was the control panel of the Brain Burst fighting game. Kuroyuki wanted to create a test match, since they were connected within the school's internal network. So currently, only the two of them, she and Haru, can participate. Kuroyuki asked Haru to choose her as his opponent. However, this match did not require fighting. They just needed to wait until time ran out, and the match would automatically end in a draw. Then, Haru continued the process of transforming his armor. The match was taking place in a sunset scene, also called the Twilight, a rare setting. Haru's armor was called Silver Crow. However, Haru still felt that he was too weak compared to others. Kuroyuki began to mention Haru's dream from last night. She explained that the Brain Burst program had now infiltrated his subconscious, which had recorded his ambitions and fears. Based on that information, the program automatically designed Haru's dual avatar. Kuroyuki added that the program did not create avatars from ideals, but from the player's insecurities, specifically Haru's insecurities. As for Kuroyuki's dual avatar, it was an avatar she designed herself. However, Kuroyuki had sealed it away, because it looked incredibly frightening and powerful. She didn't want to revisit the past, nor did she want to use it anymore. After that, Kuroyuki asked Haru about what had happened that morning. Haru recounted everything he had experienced. Kuroyuki explained that this was the burst point. Burst point is the number of times a player can use acceleration. Each use of acceleration consumes 1 point. The only way to earn more points in Brain Burst is to win and fight. When fighting an opponent of equal level, the winner receives 10 points, and vice versa. Acceleration brings many benefits in real life. However, once a player has tasted the forbidden fruit, they have no choice but to fight to maintain it. If a player continuously accelerates but loses all their points, Haru will be erased from the Brain Burst program. The program will automatically uninstall itself, and the player will never be able to reinstall it again. This also means never being able to accelerate again. Haru realized that if that happened, he would never have the chance to see Kuroyuki again. Kuroyuki asked Haru about his next plan. She said that if he gave up right now, he would no longer be bullied by Araya either. However, Haru still wanted to repay Kuroyuki. He knew that she had saved him from this hellish life. Haru also thought that Kuroyuki had a big plan for him from the start. But then he realized he wasn't even worthy to talk to her. Haru saw himself as ugly, short, fat, and always crying. He felt truly useless. Yet, he was still connected to and talking with Kuroyuki. Haru knew that this happened because he was good at playing the game. But more than that, he wanted something greater. Therefore, Haru was determined to be worthy of Kuroyuki's expectations. He would fight as a true burst linker. As for Kuroyuki, she also considered herself a useless and silly high school student. She hoped Haru would stop trying to separate himself from society. Instead, he should try to accept reality and challenge himself. Haru finally understood Kuroyuki's sincere heart. And Kuroyuki thanked Haru for his sincerity. She said that she was facing problems and needed Haru's help. Haru also wanted to help Kuroyuki immediately. However, Kuroyuki wanted Haru to learn how to fight first. Then, the two of them returned to the real world. Haru felt uncertain whether he could do it or not. Suddenly, Chiyuri appeared. She wanted to ask about the relationship between Haru and Kuroyuki. Kuroyuki replied that she had confessed to Haru but was rejected. Everyone was very shocked to hear that, including Haru himself, who was stunned. Haru thought he would be bullied if Kuroyuki said that. But Kuroyuki gently said she was only telling the truth. She even took a picture of Haru's stunned reaction. Kuroyuki revealed that she had rejected dozens of people. And Haru was the first person to dare reject her. Kuroyuki reminded that the neuro-linker would end the connection as soon as they stepped outside the school gate. Therefore, Haru was forced to accelerate before anyone else challenged him. Then, Haru looked for a way to challenge Ashroller. This was Haru's first real battle. Then, the acceleration world was instantly activated. Haru began to recall Kuroyuki's words. Right now, Haru could only punch and kick. And his only special move was the Iron Head attack. Kuroyuki once said, "Trust the body that you yourself have built." At this moment, Haru was waiting for his opponent to arrive. And he no longer wanted to be a useless Haru. He believed that this world was his true reality. As soon as Ashroller appeared, Haru delivered a straight kick to his face. Ashroller was kicked away, lying face down on the ground. Haru continued moving up toward the building. Remembering Kuroyuki's advice, all of Ashroller's skills focus on his bike. He barely has any close combat ability. So hide and wait for the right moment. The other players were watching and unanimously agreed that Haru was excellent. But Ashroller didn't let that happen easily. He activated the fire booster from his motorcycle, then rushed straight up the building. Flying to Haru's position, Haru didn't expect that even a few flying bricks would cause him to lose health. Ashroller said he had reached level 2 after defeating Haru this morning, and learned the wall climbing skill. He believed that decision was the right one. The match continued with a chase between a car and a person. Haru kept remembering Kuroyuki's instructions about the strengths and weaknesses of his armor. In fact, Haru's armor was completely useless against Ashroller's attributes. Therefore, the only choice was to run away until time ran out. But then Haru was hit by a very strong crash. Ashroller turned the car around and charged toward Haru again. Haru decided to use his special skill. Everyone around gasped in amazement. However, the price Haru had to pay was losing his life. He was crushed by the car, lying flat like a shrimp. Haru felt very angry with himself. He looked up and saw Kuroyuki watching him. At that moment, Haru decided he could not fall like that. Even if he lost, he had to fight to the end. He knew that if he was just a pawn sacrificed for Kuroyuki, it wouldn't even be worth it. Ashroller was still driving around in circles. Haru began to think deeply. Because this world was similar to reality, Haru believed the opponent must have some weakness. After all, the car had to run on gasoline, and gasoline needed to be refilled to run. Finally, Haru discovered that weakness. Haru decided that he had to move faster than his opponent. Haru successfully dodged the opponent's direct crash. Then, Haru managed to grab onto his car's tail. Next, Haru began to pull him to create friction with the ground. Meanwhile, Haru's health bar kept continuously decreasing. Ashroller appeared extremely confident and satisfied. At this moment, Haru thought it was time to counterattack. Haru successfully flipped Ashroller's car upside down. Ashroller floored the gas pedal, but the car still couldn't move. because his car was no longer in contact with the ground. It couldn't run anymore. Currently, Ash Roller was stuck like a stranded fish. Everyone around also began to watch Haru attentively. Ash Roller was extremely furious. He decided to abandon the car and charge to attack Haru. At this time, Haru also activated his ultimate move. Immediately, Ash Roller completely lost all his health points. Haru successfully returned to reality after the victory. He officially surpassed Ash Roller. Kuroyuki was surprised to hear that Haru had defeated Ash Roller at level 2. Then, Kuroyuki wanted Haru to find a place where they could celebrate together. Meanwhile, Chiyuri was angry to see the two happily together. Chiyuri didn't know what Kuroyuki was planning with Haru. She was very upset because she didn't understand Kuroyuki's intentions. Haru didn't know how to handle this situation. Both sides continued their tense back and forth. Kuroyuki even revealed that she was about to date Haru. Hearing that, Haru immediately thought the apocalypse had come. Kuroyuki then pulled Haru to follow her. Haru didn't understand Kuroyuki's way of handling the problem. However, Kuroyuki said that she intentionally provoked Chiyuri to clarify a few things. That matter was related to the reason why Kuroyuki chose Haru. After that, Kuroyuki took Haru to celebrate their first victory. The two continued to communicate with each other through spirit. Haru didn't know what the level up scene would look like. He learned that there were more than 1,000 burst linkers. However, only a few could reach level 4. Those who reached level 7 or 8 were usually commanders of groups. They were like gangs in the accelerated world. These groups were often called legions. Currently, the accelerated world was divided into 6 main legions. 6 people who reached level 9 represented those 6 legions. Each legion had its own distinct color to differentiate. They were called the Pure Color Kings. Up to now, after 7 years since release, no one had reached level 10. To become the top player on the server, one only needed to win 5 consecutive matches. However, players were required to fight against level 9 linkers. If they lost one match, they would lose all their points. And at the same time, they would be permanently banned from the Brain Burst program. For 7 years, this program remained a mystery to most of the world. The reason was that its most important requirement was very strict. Players were forced to wear the Neuro Linker for their entire lives. This device had been released on the market 15 years ago. Therefore, currently, no participant had yet reached adulthood. The oldest player was only 15 years old. When the device was removed, all traces of participating in Brain Burst would disappear. 2 years ago, a young leader reached level 9. At the same time, he also discovered a ruthless way to reach level 10. Everyone thought there would be a bloody power struggle. However, the leaders came together and made a joint decision. They drafted a treaty to not fight each other. Then, they divided the territory for each to rule separately. Kuroyuki saw that treaty as hypocrisy. Because, according to her, those people had also hunted down and eliminated many opponents to reach level 9. Kuroyuki had also challenged the high-ranking leaders. In fact, the number of those leaders was 7 in total. Although they were enemies, all were bound by a peace treaty. Until one night 2 years ago, an event broke that order. The Black King betrayed and began hunting the remaining leaders. That person was Kuroyuki, nicknamed Black Lotus. She even beheaded the Red King, who had called for peace, right in front of everyone. The Red King's girlfriend, also called the Purple King, screamed in agony. The Blue King also became furious and enraged at that act. Despite trying her best to fight, Kuroyuki couldn't defeat anyone else. Since that day, Kuroyuki had been on the run for 2 years. Therefore, she carried the reputation as the biggest traitor in the accelerated world. She became the common enemy of all the legions. At the same time, she was also a symbol of cowardice in many people's eyes. All of that stemmed from her only dream, to reach level 10. If a player reaches level 10, they will get to meet the system programmer. From there, they can discover the true meaning of Brain Burst. That is the ultimate goal that Kuroyuki is pursuing. Haru also began to sense many deeper things from Kuroyuki. He said that no matter what Kuroyuki's past was, he still chose to help her. Haru also hoped that one day he would reach level 10 just like her. Kuroyuki thanked Haru very much for that support. She believed that choosing Haru was the completely right decision. Kuroyuki continued to tell more about her story. She had been hiding for 2 years to avoid being chased. However, because of her social status, she had to connect to a network every day. Haru quickly realized that it was the school's internal network. 2 months ago, Kuroyuki was challenged on the school's local network. The challenger was someone from the school they attended. In that battle, Kuroyuki thought that person had discovered her true identity as Black Lotus, the Black King. Fortunately, Kuroyuki managed to escape from that battle in time. She once thought that a real-life attack would happen right after that. But until now, no one had approached her directly in real life. However, over the past 2 months, she had been challenged more than 10 times at school by that person. Kuroyuki believed that person wanted to take all the points for himself. She also suspected that he had sold her real-life information to other leaders. To solve the situation, the most necessary thing now was to find out his true identity. Haru came up with a plan to trace his identity. Because students must always connect to the network when entering class, they cannot refuse a challenge. From that, Haru could rely on the challenge history to find a trace. However, Kuroyuki said she had thought of this method and had also tried it. But strangely, no one else appeared on the list at that time. In the challenge list, only her own name was present. Kuroyuki guessed that he had blocked all challenges from others. She also suspected that he was a super hacker capable of manipulating the program as he wished. His dual avatar's name is Cyan. Currently, he is at level 4. He has a light blue attribute and is famous for close combat tactics. Kuroyuki guessed that he was very afraid of losing points, because such behavior showed that he was a linker desperately needing points to level up. An even more important piece of information was revealed when the match begins. The guide cursor system will accurately point out the enemy's position. The battle map will remain fixed according to the layout of the real space. The battle stage will retain the same layout as in real life. So whichever direction you face, the real-life enemy will be in that direction too. Therefore, in the next match, Kuroyuki wants Haru to observe and remember Cyan's position. With both of them aiming in the same direction, they will surely find out Cyan's true identity. Surprisingly, the person Kuroyuki suspects is Chiyuri. Haru can't believe this, because Chiyuri is really bad at games. And she's not the type who enjoys hunting others down. But Chiyuri's actions make Kuroyuki very suspicious. Maybe she thinks someone else got to Haru first, since she approached Haru first. That could be why Chiyuri acted that way. Haru decides to get to the bottom of this. He tries to ask Chiyuri to connect with him, but then he doesn't even understand why he promised to connect. By chance, he runs into Taku while he's training. The two of them continue chatting and catching up. They happily ask about each other's lives. Haru asks if Taku thinks Chiyuri would hurt others just for herself. Taku asks him back the same question. Haru is certain that she wouldn't. Taku takes that as his answer and hopes Haru won't dwell on it. Taku then asks to return to his training. Haru, however, is sure that it's impossible. So Haru goes to find Chiyuri. He hopes Chiyuri will connect with him. He enters the room and is surprised to see exactly what he wanted to see. Chiyuri also grabs a cable so they can both connect. After that, she lies down, letting Haru do whatever he wants. And by do, it means connecting with each other. You guys. And so, Haru successfully establishes the connection, while apologizing for what happened yesterday. He also begins his task, because he doesn't want Taku to pity him. He wants all three of them to stand as equals. Chiyuri thinks Haru misunderstood, since Taku doesn't know the whole story. It's been a long time since Haru opened up like this. She knows he's been enduring a lot by himself. But that's also really selfish. Because friends are supposed to share things with each other. Chiyuri just wants the three of them to always stay by each other's side. But she doesn't understand why Haru chose to follow Kuroyuki, abandoning her in just one day. Even though she's been worried about him for so many years. You've changed. You don't love me anymore. That's Ona's line. By the way, Chiyuri is pretty angry at what Haru did. Haru doesn't seem to care about it. But Chiyuri definitely does. Because ever since they entered middle school, he hasn't cared about her anymore. He completely ignored her. She even cried. Haru thought it was because Chiyuri had a boyfriend that things became distant. But she says, even if she has a boyfriend, it doesn't change the feelings between the three of them. So exhausting. Seriously. Haru thinks that the three of them aren't kids anymore. Now Taku has become handsome. And Chiyuri is even cuter. Being with the two of them, Haru feels like he's invisible. Like he's disappearing. Chiyuri thinks Haru has become too insecure about himself. But Haru still has so many good qualities. In conclusion, she just wants to always have two close friends. But maybe that's no longer possible. She hugs Haru. And only then does Haru finally remember his mission for connecting. Haru continued to apologize while carrying out his mission. Haru was sure that Chiyuri could not be Cyan Pile. But unexpectedly, the information got shaken. Haru discovered it was a back door. He realized the installer must be watching them. If they wanted to catch him, they had to pretend not to know about it. Chiyuri didn't want Haru to be Kuroyuki's servant anymore. If possible, she hoped Haru would try to become her boyfriend. Chiyuri was sure Haru would become the center of attention at school. Haru thanked her and finished the connection mission. He asked permission to leave. But hey, his mother wasn't home today. So Haru immediately rushed off to find food. Kuroyuki also came and stripped naked. It turned out everything was just the young man's dream. Dreams can be quite strange. Then he thought to himself, am I really that terrible? The next morning, Haru met Kuroyuki again. She apologized for how she behaved yesterday. She also demanded that Haru go connect with Chiyuri. Haru could only say, oh, really? Because he had already done it. But now it's gone. Kuroyuki also said, oh, really? She said it jokingly but actually meant it. Haru asked clearly where the connection was. Kuroyuki answered, Chiyuri's house. Haru asked for the exact location. She replied, in the room. Haru asked how thick the cable was. She answered, 30 centimeters thick. Alright. They immediately got down to business. The 3-position lingam was activated by Kuroyuki. Looking back on that noon, Haru didn't know what was wrong with Kuroyuki. He wanted to find out the reason and cause. Suddenly, Haru was interviewed, because right now everyone thinks he's dating Kuroyuki. All their connections were discovered by others. The young man could only dodge the questions because no girl really knew anything. Haru also foolishly recounted the events that happened that morning. Then both of those girls who interviewed him were sure that there was something going on between them. Because otherwise, they wouldn't have gotten so angry when talking about another girl. It was just jealousy. It was just love, because she loved too much. Loved too deeply. Haru continued to slip into the toilet, thinking to himself that it was all lies. Lies. Just lies. Why? Why is it like that? Because Kuroyuki has everything, beauty, talent, and fame. He didn't understand why she put all her trust in this kid. The young man decided not to hope too much, to avoid a broken heart later. Well, he thought it was better to step back and see her more clearly. After school, Haru went back home. He saw Kuroyuki standing there doing something. Haru planned to casually walk past her, but Kuroyuki greeted him. Hey, I've been standing here since the afternoon. Then she walked while crying. Oh no, she walked while talking. Kuroyuki apologized for what happened in the morning. She didn't know why she behaved that way. Haru said he had discovered that Chiyuri was involved with Cyan Pile. Kuroyuki wanted the two of them to connect and talk directly. She said this was an important matter and no one could eavesdrop. But she accidentally broke the connection cable they usually used. Now there's only a short cable left. You're really something, Haru said. Haru said that Kuroyuki's enemy had sent a virus into Chiyuri to create a backdoor. That was why he appeared in the game at the coordinates of Chiyuri. Kuroyuki also noticed Haru was acting very strangely. She thought Haru was angry with her. But Haru just wanted to focus on the main issue. Haru didn't do anything else for fear that he would be discovered. So Haru only verified the information again. Kuroyuki thought this was a bit unreasonable because she had never heard of this kind of hack before. Haru said whether she believed it or not was up to her. She could think whatever she wanted. She could do whatever she wanted. Because Haru was just a pawn. A tool to be used. Kuroyuki was sure that Haru was angry with her. She knew she had acted badly and truly apologized to Haru. But her feelings involved both Haru and Chiyuri. Haru thought that was more than enough. Seeing her like that, he felt heartbroken. Haru was certain that Kuroyuki really hated herself. She always wanted to appear perfect. That was why she put herself down and acted kindly toward him. So Haru was determined to do whatever she wanted. Haru vowed to be her slave. Haru vowed to love her for life. And to tenderly care for her every sleep. Therefore, it was best if she treated him normally. A flirtatious line that shook Kuroyuki's whole world. "You fool," she said. Tears fell from his eyes. But the game was not over yet. Suddenly, a car lost control and rushed straight toward them. Both of them immediately activated to enter the accelerated world. They almost lost their lives. But time continued to move forward. Haru didn't understand why the self-driving car caused the accident like that. Haru discovered that it was a Ryoubo-kun who was controlling it. Haru also guessed that maybe he was Cyan. Kuroyuki thought that maybe he was seeking revenge. She apologized because she was the cause of everything. She promised to protect her beloved at all costs. Kuroyuki also told Haru about the ultimate and special acceleration ability of Brain Burst. Haru wanted to protect Kuroyuki in return. But only since reaching level 9 could Haru use that ability. It consumed up to 99% of the current points. Since she was the godparent, Kuroyuki wanted Haru to take responsibility. At this moment, she hoped Haru would trust her last words. "Haru, I love you. I have never felt this way before. I completely cannot control these feelings. It makes me always confused. You are always in my mind. And that makes me both happy and painful. I guess it's because I've fallen in love with you. I dare not promise anything far ahead. Haru doesn't know why he loves someone like me. Well, no one wants to be ordinary when they are in love. 6 years ago, I only longed to become someone powerful, defeating countless enemies. However, I never scored as high as Haru. I want Haru to hear this clearly. You are faster than anyone else. Surely one day you will be the most famous person in the accelerated world, defeating all the kings and reaching the source of Brain Burst's power." I was overwhelmed, breathless too, after seeing Haru play volleyball. Because a person can't move that fast. Yet in reality, he is very vulnerable and fragile. I want to hold you tight and protect you. Contradiction follows contradiction. So this is what love is. Yesterday was also the first time Kuroyuki felt jealousy in her life. She also wants to say everything in the real world, but knows that there will come a time when both must part. I hope you will be quicker and stronger. My love. Haru doesn't want to, because he has never been able to protect Kuroyuki even once. Okay, kiss me, I promise we will meet again someday. Kuroyuki begins to activate her special power, then suddenly disappeared. At this moment, the real body had already begun to accelerate. Kuroyuki tried to move her body. Haru witnessed everything. My love then continued to express all the feelings in her heart. The short time with Haru was incredibly wonderful. Kuroyuki also succeeded in pushing Haru's entity out of the danger zone. Everything then returned to reality. Haru gradually regained consciousness, but Kuroyuki could not. She was rushed to the hospital. The emergency surgery also began. Time slowly passed. Haru was utterly desperate outside. A nurse came and gave him Kuroyuki's wallet. He dropped it. Inside was a picture of himself. He could only despair with tears. Kuroyuki is currently in a vegetative state. The next 12 hours will decide her life. The nurse advised him to go home and rest. Kuroyuki's family would arrive tomorrow. Haru didn't want to leave Kuroyuki alone while she was fighting for her life. The nurse understood Haru's wish and would bring him a blanket. Haru asked about Kuroyuki still wearing the neurolinker. The nurse said it was still connected to the hospital network. Then Haru opened the accelerated world. He checked to see if any players were here, knowing that my love had lost 99% of her points. So anyone attacking now would surely die. He thought this was a hospital, so it should be safe. But then remembered Cyan was still around. If he appeared, everything would be over. Haru was determined to protect his love at all costs. That night, he stayed on guard outside, deciding not to let anyone come near to challenge Kuroyuki. The hacker had also learned this information through Chiyuri. Morning came. Haru had stayed awake all night. At first, the place gradually became more crowded. He still hoped my love would wake up soon. Suddenly, Taku appeared. Haru thought he came to visit the hospital. But thinking again, Haru wondered why he had come here. Haru sensed that Taku came on his own accord. Haru also realized the person who planted the virus to control Chiyuri. Because Taku was the only one who could do that. Indeed, Taku and Haru both activated Burst Link at the same time. Haru was shocked to learn that Taku was Cyan Pile. He quickly issued a challenge. Haru activated his armor. Taku also equipped his armor. He appeared in the identity of Cyan Pile. Taku was quite surprised to learn that Haru was also a Burst Linker. Taku also mentioned Haru connecting with Chiyuri on the bed. This young man got furious after seeing everything. Taku now blamed Haru for what he had done. He was jealous that Chiyuri preferred taking care of Haru rather than holding his hand. Taku thought it was wise for Chiyuri to choose him, because being beside the top student and kendo champion was much better. Better than some guy who was fat, short, and ugly. Haru thought Taku was delusional. Haru believed that Taku had gotten everything thanks to the power of acceleration. Taku recounted the process of becoming Cyan Pile. But Haru saw that as nothing but foolishness. And Haru believed Taku could never defeat him, because Taku had never won against him in the game. However, Taku wanted to crush that pride immediately. Haru dodged the attack, but suddenly, Taku attacked with a weapon in his hand. One of Haru's arms was severed. Haru struggled to stand and run away. Then he entered the elevator to go up. Upon reaching the top, the scene before Haru surprised him quite a lot. All the players had gathered here to connect to GlobalNet. Taku was also going up. Haru decided to take a risk. Taku thought Haru wanted to fight a guerrilla battle with him. But now, Haru should be called Silver Crow. Haru decided to execute a quick strike plan. He dodged the attack, then immediately threw a punch. Next came a kick. Taku continued to counterattack. Haru kept dodging, then delivered a downward kick. A right hook. Haru punched while releasing his feelings. The Iron Head strike was unleashed. Haru continuously punched while trying to clear Taku's mind. Suddenly, Taku activated a hidden weapon shooting out from his chest. Haru was hit and severely injured. Taku wanted Haru to use his special attack. When Haru stood up, the leg of his armor was already severed. Then he collapsed. Now, Haru realized he could no longer dodge or run. Both continued to argue about Chiyuri's situation. Taku was very frustrated because Chiyuri was with him but thought about Haru. Taku blamed everything on Haru. So neither could escape that emotional quagmire. Taku wanted Haru to disappear so they both could be at peace. Taku stomped on Haru. Then he continued to activate his weapon. He wanted to end everything right there. Haru took the full brunt of the attack. The shockwave sent him flying straight from the rooftop to the ground. Taku was very pleased. But unexpectedly, Haru still had a little blood left. Taku ignored Haru because time was running out. Then, he turned to justify himself to everyone. Haru regained consciousness. He realized he wasn't allowed to lose. Because of friendship, because of love, crocodile tears continued to flow. But suddenly, Haru discovered something. He tried crawling toward that place. That was where his beloved was lying. Haru spoke about what he hadn't done. Unable to protect her, his promises were like wind blowing clouds away. He continued to express his wish. I want to go with you to a quiet sea, where we can live every day brightly. Haru heard Kuroyuki's heartbeat. He began to recall Kuroyuki's words, and decided to fight once more. His body began to radiate pain. But suddenly, the armor transformed. Haru grew 2 more pairs of wings. He felt the wings were very hot. Haru decided to go to the place that was waiting for him. He immediately flew straight upward. In the sky, Haru saw a full view of the accelerated city. He acknowledged that this world was incredibly vast. Then, Haru started to fall again. Everyone was shocked to see Haru flying. A player realized that it was the ability to fly. And Silver Crow was the first to fly in the accelerated world. Taku continued to go crazy, thinking he was being looked down on. He unleashed all his special energy. Haru reacted immediately. Taku continued to attack. Haru charged straight down from above. He dodged Taku's move, and successfully punched Taku directly. The sky was torn apart by his conqueror's haki. Taku woke up and found himself in the sky. He started to beg and plead. Taku said that if Haru dropped him, he would definitely lose all his points. But Taku also admitted that even until the very end, he couldn't defeat Haru. Just like all the previous games they had played, Taku acknowledged Haru's victory. He accepted it, let go, and vanished. Haru still managed to grab him in time. In reality, Haru admitted he couldn't beat Taku. But here, he could, so now, they were equals. Haru hoped Taku would become his comrade and fight under Kuroyuki's leadership. Taku saw himself as a traitor who couldn't be forgiven. But Haru hoped they could have a fresh start. Then Haru safely let Taku down. Suddenly, Kuroyuki appeared. Haru was deeply moved to see his beloved senpai. The two immediately embraced. Kuroyuki thanked Haru very much. She said, "Tonight, I'll reward you." She acknowledged that Haru's wings were amazing. Her intuition had been right. Because the one who would change this world was Haru. Kuroyuki also apologized to Taku for avoiding confrontations and hiding her true form. Kuroyuki wanted to show Taku her real appearance. She transformed. An explosion erupted, and the true form of the Black King, Black Lotus, was revealed, the greatest traitor in the accelerated world. Haru thought it looked beautiful. Kuroyuki asked Haru to take her for a flight. Haru carried his beloved senpai in his arms and flew. "Let's fly. Fly high." Kuroyuki declared to everyone, "I will reclaim the throne. And I will publicly bring an end to this false peace. It's time for a real fight, in the real world." Haru didn't know what to say when he met Kuroyuki. But she wanted Haru to hurry up and get in. Both of them were happy to see each other again. Taku's hacking program had been disabled. His sponsor also lost all their points. Haru also returned the wallet to Kuroyuki. She immediately blushed. Haru apologized for seeing what was inside. "Hey, little guy, can you stop calling me by that nickname? Just use my real name, okay?" Haru admitted that he didn't know Kuroyuki's real name yet. Kuroyuki then reintroduced herself. As for Taku, he had been punished by the Blue Legion. If he could defeat both of them, he would be free to follow the Black King or anyone else. The battle resumed. Neither of them expected Taku to have such incredible endurance. Then Vanquish appeared. He was the king of the Blue Legion. Taku begged for his freedom. Vanquish ordered Taku to go to the gate, and decided to spare him this time. Meanwhile, Chiyuri was exercising. She had just finished her run. Haru arrived, but Chiyuri ignored him. Haru went to the hospital to see Kuroyuki. Seeing that, Kuroyuki also left so she wouldn't disturb them. Haru checked on Kuroyuki, and his beloved senpai had fully recovered. Today, she changed her hairstyle, flipped her hair and said, "The sun is setting, little one." The guy had to admit the sunset was really beautiful. It turned out Kuroyuki changed her hairstyle because yesterday Haru said he liked this style. As expected, people change for the ones they love. Haru realized it, but since he didn't understand, he couldn't express it. Kuroyuki thought maybe it didn't look good. "Don't say that, sis. It'll kill me. Your hair looks amazing today." My beloved senpai, upset. "Huh? That's just my silly lover." After that, the two went to the rooftop to continue their conversation. Haru said that he and Taku had told Chiyuri everything. Chiyuri was very disappointed. She slapped both of them and cried a lot. Since then, she hasn't spoken to either of them. Kuroyuki felt she was also partly responsible for this, so she wanted to talk to Chiyuri too. But Haru saw it as a matter between the three of them. Taku wanted to make up for his mistakes. Haru thought Taku was very skilled, so he felt it would be good to team up. He also wanted to help Haru reach level 2 before Kuroyuki was discharged. Kuroyuki admitted that Haru was truly kind-hearted, because no matter what, he always forgave. Then Haru and Taku started fighting together. Currently, they had won 3 battles in a row. Haru had also gained enough points to reach level 2. Their opponent thanked Haru, hoping to battle again next time. Haru also thanked Taku for his help. Taku promised to support Haru until he reached level 4. Both of them wanted to make amends. One of them said it was all their fault. They decided to stop for today. Suddenly, Haru wanted to level up right away. Taku tried to stop him but it was too late. Haru's points had dropped to 8. Taku immediately activated the accelerated world. Then Taku apologized again for not warning Haru in advance. Even if the conditions are met, one shouldn't level up immediately. Haru, however, blamed himself, because there had been a warning that 300 points were needed to reach level 2. These two guys are truly best friends, always blaming and taking blame for each other. Currently, Haru only had 8 points left. If he lost now, it would be game over. Taku wanted to transfer his points to Haru by challenging him directly. Then he'd slowly earn his points back in future matches. Taku thought this was the best option for now. But Haru didn't want to do that. He didn't want to attack while Taku just stood still. But this was an emergency situation. Taku wondered if Haru had lost trust in him, fearing that he might take advantage of the situation. Haru didn't mean that, he just didn't feel happy or find it meaningful. Kuroyuki once saved him using her own points, but never asked him to share points in return. So Haru wanted to follow his beloved senpai's example. Then Taku had to look for another way. Until then, he didn't want Haru to connect with anyone else. Taku saw that Haru still kept the 3 pairs of slippers from when they were kids. Then suddenly, Chiyuri called out to both of them. Haru had bought a lot of pastries, and it turned out to be Chiyuri's idea. She said she would forgive them if they treated her to some pastries. Chiyuri wanted to end everything as soon as possible, not wanting the 3 of them to stay in this awkward state. And so, the 3 finally made peace and talked together about brain burst. Both Haru and Taku wanted to help Chiyuri understand it better. Taku asked Chiyuri to throw the diary at him. Then Chiyuri did as he said. He activated the accelerated world and easily dodged the diary. Chiyuri kept throwing the diary, but she couldn't hit him at all. The 2 guys explained that this was the power of the accelerated world. But Haru got hit right in the face with the book. Then Chiyuri asked both of them to eat pastries with her. The 2 began picking out flavors. Suddenly, Taku came up with an idea. Maybe they could ask a bouncer to help Haru. The next day, at the hospital, Haru praised his beloved senpai's beautiful hair, but she brushed it off, saying she only tied it like that because she ate too much. She said she'd be discharged this Wednesday. Haru was asked about leveling up. He said he had reached a new level, but he hid the fact that his points were low. Kuroyuki revealed her plan to claim Suginami as her territory once she's discharged. Haru was going to have a match today. Kuroyuki hoped he wouldn't rush things too much, because you'll run into trouble with points right after leveling up. The 2 guys tried to act like clueless deer caught in headlights. They learned that a bouncer is the only bodyguard in Brain Burst. Taku had only observed him in one battle. That avatar's name is Aqua Current. His job is to help low-point players return to a safe level. He's known as the One. He's still only at level 1. To hire him, you have to meet a few conditions. First, you must be at level 2 or lower. Second, you must reveal your real-world identity. And you have to go alone to the meeting place, without any guarantee of safety. Haru had also arrived at the location. There was a bag already set there. The attendant said that bag belonged to the person Haru was waiting for. Inside the bag was a tablet. Haru was required to enter his name first, so he typed in his avatar name. The verification was successful. The mission would begin at 1:40 p.m. Haru realized he was being watched, so he decided to sneak into the bathroom first, but didn't know where the restroom was. He even tripped and almost faceplanted. By accident, he fell right on top of a girl. It was unintentional, but his hand was not. Then he accidentally discovered that the girl was holding a tablet. Haru realized she was actually Aqua Current. She said that the bag wasn't hers, so please return it. Haru didn't expect the bodyguard to be a girl, and wasn't sure what he should do next. Suddenly, she wanted to link with Haru. Haru was worried people might misunderstand their relationship, but she didn't want anyone eavesdropping on their conversation. Haru admitted she reminded him of his beloved senpai. Meanwhile, Taku had gone to meet Kuroyuki. Kuroyuki immediately entered the accelerated world. Chiyuri was surprised to hear that Taku had quit the kendo club. Even the teacher didn't know why. Taku just said he had other things to do. Taku was currently with Kuroyuki. Kuroyuki wanted Taku to fight alongside her. Haru's conversation continued. Aqua Current already knew all about Haru. She acknowledged that Haru was the only one unaware of his own fame in the accelerated world. The only one who could fly. And also a genius. But in the real world, it was the opposite because of his clumsiness. He had ended up in such a dangerous situation. She also confirmed that she really was Aqua Current, and said she would help Haru until he reached 50 points. She said to call her Karen. Karen also wanted Haru to log in and join the team battle. Karen laid out the plan before starting. Haru had no questions. but only wondered whether he should apologize for touching Karen's pomelo. Karen knew what Haru was thinking. Then the accelerated world opened. Karen was a dragonfly. Karen wanted Haru to learn how to think while connected, because she could hear everything. Haru was quite surprised when Karen intended to choose level 3 and 4 opponents. Since their combined level was 3, choosing opponents with a combined level above 6 meant that even if they lost, they wouldn't lose points. Then the opponents were confirmed. Haru realized Karen was very thoughtful in choosing opponents. Karen didn't want Haru to lose this match. But the important thing was not to win, but to enjoy the game. Haru said these were the words his sponsor told him. Then it was time to start. Both entered the erosion forest scene. Haru could also see Karen's form. The opponents appeared as well. Both moved downwards. The opponents revealed their faces. Over here, Taku was still fighting with Kuroyuki. Kuroyuki wanted Taku to fight with all his might. Kuroyuki also knew that Taku was no longer participating in the kendo tournament. He thought this was the way to settle everything. Kuroyuki said that because Taku had committed a sin, he couldn't keep going like this forever. Kuroyuki guessed that Taku wanted to throw away everything he had achieved. Kuroyuki guessed Taku also wanted to throw away Brain Burst. He believed that was the only way. Kuroyuki hoped Taku would think of Haru and Chiyuri. Kuroyuki said that doing so would be like trampling on their feelings. Taku didn't know what the hell he should do anymore. Taku also started to fight seriously. Back to Haru and Karen. Both were already exhausted. The opponents were surprisingly energetic despite their small size. Karen knew Sand Duck's skills well. Karen should warn Haru clearly. They would split up to fight. Sand Blast would be Karen's opponent. Haru successfully grabbed Sand Duck's leg. Both fell into the swamp. This swamp was poisonous. Sand Duck thought he was level 4, so Haru's health would run out first. But the poison didn't affect Silver. Sand Duck knew it was true that Silver resisted poison. But the nature of Silver was that it conducted electricity best. Sand Duck immediately shocked Haru with electricity. His health began to drop. His energy bar was full. He then opened his wings and flew up. He continued to rush down with a flying kick. But victory was still not in sight. Sand Blast had arrived to support in time. Sand Blast asserted that both of them would lose. Taku kept attacking Kuroyuki continuously. Taku still didn't know how to atone for his mistakes. Kuroyuki didn't want Taku to erase Brain Burst to make amends. Simply put, at this moment, Taku only wanted to run away. The two close friends forgave each other and acted as if nothing had happened. That made Taku feel even more guilty. Simply because Taku had been too arrogant. Taku thought Kuroyuki was wrong. At this time, Haru only knew to run away. The opponents saw that the two had no teamwork at all. The opponents commented that they didn't support each other even a bit. The opponents said that no matter how strong you are, without coordination you are just zero. Haru agreed that was true. Therefore, the match result could not be decided yet. Because Haru had participated a lot with his teammates. Haru always trusted his teammates absolutely. Haru trusted Karen very much. Hearing that, the opponents immediately wanted to combine forces to blow both of them away. Karen suddenly moved. Karen didn't want both of them to get hit by a combined attack. The opponents began coordinating their strikes. Haru's body started being sucked in. Haru decided to run straight inside. Haru got shocked until his body turned purple. This was the opponent's combined move. Haru was also running low on health. Kuroyuki knew Haru had given advice to Taku. Kuroyuki wondered why Taku didn't follow that advice. Haru considered Taku his closest friend. Haru on this side was determined not to lose. Haru and Taku's close friend were waiting for a new beginning. Karen had absorbed the electric shock. Because Karen's water body was completely pure, Karen was immune to electricity. Haru had also flown up. He was ready to deliver a flying kick downwards. Kuroyuki on this side was still trying to reason with Taku. Self-development comes from competing and helping friends. Until now, Taku had always acted alone. Taku might not even know how wonderful it feels to have friends. Kuroyuki advised Taku to try to approach the unlimited potential of friendship. Haru successfully attacked. Both had returned to reality. Haru now had 54 points. So Karen's mission was complete. Karen thanked Haru for teaching her many things. Haru sincerely hoped that one day they could meet again. But Karen didn't want that. Karen chose this place because very few burst linkers came here. This helped Karen delay her repayment. Karen continued to accelerate. Soon Karen would take all of Haru's points. Karen and Haru would have a confrontation. This was the delayed repayment Karen was talking about. Haru said he had trusted her. Since meeting Karen, Haru had seen her as a good person. Haru had fought a fierce battle with his closest friend recently. Haru fought with all his hatred. But in the end, Haru still chose to trust. So from that moment, Haru decided he would never change this thought. Trusting someone means trusting them completely. Karen said she was just bluffing. She only wanted to scare Haru a little. But indeed, she couldn't scare him. Haru thought she did scare him. Karen gave Haru some advice. Then she would take away the memories they just shared. Karen activated it. Haru gradually woke up in the real world. He didn't know what the hell he was doing here, and didn't know what had just happened. Taku went home. He heard his mother say that Chiyuri had brought some things. Those were his belongings from the club. Taku also had something to talk to his mother about. The next day, Chiyuri waited for Haru in front of the school gate. Chiyuri didn't want Haru to be indifferent anymore, and hoped Haru would treat her to more ice cream today. Taku thought so too. Both were surprised to see Taku there. It turned out Taku had asked permission to transfer to this school. Taku also met Kuroyuki at school. He promised from now on to change everything with his own eyes. Taku wondered why Kuroyuki knew so much about him. She said it was because she had made similar mistakes like Taku in the past, but couldn't fix them. Haru and Chiyuri were very happy that Taku came to study at the same school. Territories or authority for each legion to control areas were decided by territorial battles every Saturday afternoon. In the battles, both teams had equal numbers of soldiers, regardless of each person's level. Haru was assigned a mission. He decided the first task would be to break the enemy's defensive line. But because he was too confident, he was ambushed and shot, and also had a gun pointed at his head by the enemy. Haru also woke up in the real world, finished school and went home. He told Chiyuri and Taku about the very hard training process. He only stopped at level 4. Taku was also very worried about him. Haru knew, if he didn't have the ability to fly, he was only a close combat fighter. So he learned how to dodge anti-air bullets. Chiyuri complained because both of them kept talking about the game all day. Then she demanded more ice cream. She was really tired. Haru returned home. He was still determined to be stronger than her. Suddenly, his little sister welcomed him home. Haru exclaimed, "What the hell?" because he didn't think he had such a cute little sister. She was baking for her brother to enjoy. Haru thought this was an illusion or a hallucination. Someone must have set a trap for his vision, because his sister couldn't be that cute. But this was the real deal. No joke. He tried to take off his necklace to check again, but the little girl was still there. She said her name was Saito Tomoko, belonged to the Nakono family, was in 5th grade of elementary school, and they were close cousins. She also said she was still immature, and hoped Haru would teach her. He also remembered his mother's instructions when she went on a business trip, wanting him to take care of the girl. The little girl invited him to eat the cake she just made. Tomoko politely apologized for using the kitchen without permission, guessing that Haru was hungry. So she baked the cake. Haru thanked Tomoko. He ate the cake and praised how delicious it was. Tomoko even took a crumb off Haru's mouth and ate it, which flustered Haru because of this. Haru invited Tomoko to play games together. But Tomoko didn't like playing games much, and also didn't like wearing neurolinkers at all. Tomoko wanted to chat about her cousin's high school life. Haru didn't expect that having a little sister felt like this, and they would stay together for 3 days while his mother was away. The young man had some naughty thoughts, but also didn't expect to have a cousin. He tried to find pictures of his family line, but he couldn't find Tomoko's house. Suddenly, Tomoko opened the bathroom door with Haru, calling, "Oni-chan, can I come in?" Having waited too long, Tomoko couldn't wait any longer. She considered them cousins, so it was okay. Suddenly, Haru saw Tomoko's neck. After that, he continued searching for images of his family, discovering that Tomoko was a burst linker, because there was a mark on her neck. He also didn't understand why Tomoko was 10 times cuter than before. Then, She immediately showed her true face. And he realized Tomoko had forged the letter from his mother and Saito, and knew clearly her plan. She said, "That's a bit too much. Kid." She suddenly became enraged, wanting Haru to be forced to obey her. She called herself Scarlet Rain, and said Haru would pay for insulting her. She left, but slipped on the towel and fell into Haru's spot. The young man continued to be lucky. He hugged both of her breasts perfectly. Both were shocked and flustered. They both shouted, "I will kill you, Haru." Then, they left. Haru also contacted Kuroyuki. He had something to ask. Haru asked Kuroyuki if she had ever heard of a player named Scarlet Rain. Kuroyuki immediately reacted. She said that Scarlet Rain was the second-generation Crimson King. Then she turned back. She accelerated instantly. So Haru had to confront the Crimson King directly. The Crimson King also officially appeared. She began putting on a giant armor. Haru could only stand and watch because he was too small. He realized he couldn't run, because the color red specialized in long-range attacks. He knew that running away was the stupidest thing to do. But Rain was determined to kill Haru as promised. Haru could only circle around and explain that he didn't mean to squeeze Rain's lemon. He planned to attack the joint at the back of Rain's machine. But the machine started to shoot fire immediately. Thanks to the armor's structure, Haru could resist the fire. So he decided to try again. This time, Rain started firing bullets. Haru immediately turned the vehicle around. Luckily, he jumped out in time, and also used his wings. Otherwise he would have been done for. The building had also collapsed. But unexpectedly, Rain attacked and severed one of Haru's arms. Its destructive power pierced through a large building. The Crimson King wanted to test her anti-aircraft bullets. She decided to quickly deal with Haru. The pervert. A continuous barrage of bullets was fired. Haru tried to move to dodge the bullets. He felt like he could see the bullets. Determined to go all in or nothing, Haru delivered a straight kick to Rain's face. But Rain unexpectedly separated her machine apart. So Rain easily dodged Haru's attack. She said, "You've won, my dear Oni-chan." Rain wanted Haru to listen to her request. She wanted to meet the Black King in real life. The next day, Haru also went to meet Kuroyuki. As usual, the beloved sister always arrived early. Kuroyuki asked about Haru's call from yesterday. He told her everything. Kuroyuki was very angry, but she didn't expect the Crimson King to risk hacking in real life. Kuroyuki didn't know why she wanted to meet her. Haru only knew she would explain when meeting the beloved sister. Kuroyuki wanted Haru to see the battle with the Crimson King as a valuable lesson. Because even with many points, there might not be a chance. Kuroyuki also asked what the second-generation Crimson King was like. Haru replied that she was crazy. Her power was very great. Kuroyuki knew it was considered an invincible fortress. Haru recalled the past. His sister had cut off the Crimson King's head and called for peace. Haru thought that might be someone very important to his sister. But he also apologized for the insensitive questions and the call yesterday. Kuroyuki said it was okay. Because she had long been determined. She decided that all other players were enemies. Though at this moment it was quite ridiculous. Haru held his beloved sister's hand. He promised himself he would never fight against her. Would never see her as an enemy. Now they considered each other family rather than rivals. Haru vowed to be her slave. Vowed to love her for life. Tenderly taking care of her every sleep. That's all for today's video. Thank you all for watching my video. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. To wait for the next parts. Love you forever.